Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Excellency Esports. If you're just joining us, we are bringing you the semifinals between Degenerates Esports versus Degenerate Reformed. I'm still your play-by-play caster, Zephyr, joined by the lovely Pone Star Shibi as my color. And we just came off of an intense game one where Degenerates Esports really set the pace and showed off that they deserve the primary position as the Degenerates team here.
Yeah, and really the game was close, like we mentioned early on, but esports kind of showing just the champion superiority that they had with the Hecarim, with the TF and just the Rel kind of getting these, engages and this backline damage. Well, although Reformed had the Seraphine, that's kind of all they really had. They picked the Volibear, they picked the Seta, the Gragas, picks you definitely seen higher level play, but require a lot more coordination and a lot more, peeling back as we see two bans coming in, Degenerates Reformed banning away the TF, viewing it as a problem, and banning the Nocturne away. So I'd love to see them just ban the Hecarim away and kind of get, Sovereign off of a pick that can really dive the backline and more on something that needs to fight front to back and get more, straightforward engages.
I will say, while I do think the Hecarim is something that they could look to ban, I also want to see Reformed pick a composition that can respond to hardcore dives, that can kind of collapse, play around them, and even peel if need be. Because really, the main reason the Hecarim worked as well as it did was there was no way to punish something when your major carries have no escapes. The rest of your team has no peel to really stress the disengage there from Sovereign. I mean, the comp here was in no benefit to Degenerates Reformed, right? So while, yes, you could sit here, say, ban the Hecarim, I don't think it will come through, but it does just from Degenerates Esports.
Yeah,
Huh.
I guess they banned the Hecarim away because they don't want Reform to be running it. As Degenerate Esports kind of gets the Skarner that was banned
Whoa.
away originally in game one. And you
Ooh.
sound excited about this Skarner pick. Is this something Sovereign has been known to do? Has he been abducting people left and right in the Light League?
I've seen him play it through and through again. He's very strong, and it definitely locks down a lot of any potential, especially through the mid lane. I've seen him go towards most of the time. But honestly, I'm more excited for the fact that the lockdown potential has enhanced immediately from the combo that is Skarner Morgana, and then probably what will be anything additional on top of that. I mean, these two in themselves are already a nasty combo to have to deal with here.
And Degenerates Reforms responds with the Thresh. I don't like that at all going into the Morgana. You already see it there. It's most likely going to go support. They could flex it mid, but I don't think it's something that, Degenerate Esports mid laner really plays. But the Morgana is just going to enhance the Skarner, like you mentioned, right? Gets the Black Shield on. One of Skarner's worst things is that he can get kind of kited without his flash. But now if he chem tanks in, right? He just gets the Morgana Black Shield and he just takes anybody. He puts them on a milk carton. Like it's done. Right, as we see the Jarvan coming in for Degenerates Reformed.
Is that an analogy that they're missing? They're just
Yeah,
gone?
they're
Okay.
gone. They go Skarner has pulled people 2-3 screens away. Like, that's just how it works. That's unfair.
We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I'm excited to see the potential of the 2-3 screen poll that you're discussing and telling me about. I've never happened to see it. I don't know. There was some Rift Walker boots back in ARAM, and that was something. But either way, I'm excited. Jin combo, though, into that bot lane for Degenerates Esports. So just as aggressive, just as in your face as what was the Realm Misfortune. But this time around, something heavily oriented towards single target damage, really ripping through and locking down control onto some of your major carries. And Reformed hasn't quite picked out their AD carry yet, but they already can't pick Kog'Maw, Vayne, or Kai'Sa. All right.
Yeah, and the straying away from the Tristana is just really interesting, right? And neither of the teams really have an affinity for it or look like they want to play it, but it's such a strong pick, especially into esports comp. I would love to see Reform kind of take the Tristana, extra safety with the jump, with the lantern from Thresh, and you just kind of get away from this Skarner. Can really as I say it, they are looks like they're hovering it.
Ah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
they picked it.
There you go. That's the peel we wanted. That's the safety. I feel like this puts, Fox Zero in a far better position. Something more aggressive, can play around the heavy engage from what will be Jarvan, Seraphine, and Thresh. And the response is you have a better front to back comp that will play together with the same kind of presence on what they want to do rather than kind of opposed at each other's ends. And Cho'Gath sets them up for a really strong front line, which was something that they definitely needed into the finalizing this comp. But Colbox back on the Oriana. We've seen it time and time again. This is that AoE team fight presence mid laner that really shows up when it needs to. And this was the first champion we got to see this guy play in when he came and was a new starter on this team. And he's shown it time and time again. And it has been a proven commodity here in Light League. So very excited to see how it plays out, especially since it's going to be routing through along with the set now on the top side.
Yeah, and sets a really good matchup into the Cho top. But I think the problem that Reformed has is, although they've shored up some of the peeling and stuff like that, it feels like they have the same problem as last game. Like, where does the damage come from? It's really only Tristana, right? Cho'Gath, will probably go for Everfrost into a full tank build. He's not going to go Everfrost, Cosmic Drive, Zanyas. I doubt it. He kind of needs to be that beefy frontliner. So the only real damage they have is the Tristana, right? Jarvan goes into Gore Drinker, goes into Starax, and then goes into the um, Gargoyle Stoneplate, which is, for sure some damage, but he's more burst orientated. I feel like they're just lacking damage on Reform side. They're really honing in on the Seraphine pick, and I love the Seraphine priority. I think it's a strong champion, but you need to properly pair it with appropriate accoutrements, in these case, champions that can kind of get enabled by her, right? Like, healing is all fine and dandy, but if you're hitting like a water gun, it doesn't really matter.
Right. And I think one of the biggest problems that I saw from the draft last time around, the Senate pick for Fox Zero doesn't enable Fox Zero to do what he does best. Fox likes to play aggressive. He likes to get in your face. Senna, while it has the potential to be that kind of potential carry, takes time, it takes scaling, but more than anything, it does take the enabling of your team. And while that it was something that we could have seen a few times from Reformed in Game 1, it really wasn't there as a whole in presence. Tristana is a lot more self-servicing, and that plays to the favor of Fox Hero much more, especially when you tack on the fact that it's double the safety when you're also routing flute loops onto the Thresh as well to kind of match the pacing. And while it might not match up very well into the Morgana, as it is kind of that direct counter, it does give a potential for this damaging, 80 carry to actually be there this game. And while the eggs are kind of in one basket, I will say, you have to remember, man, Cho's got a true damage feast that's going to rip through at least 3 of the targets here on Degenerate Esports if they get into a poor position. And Jarvan with a lockdown into Seraphine. Seraphine didn't look good last game, but that doesn't mean she won't look good this game, all right? It's still a great magic power prowess that does burst through when it is in a good spot.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the name of the game for Degenerates Reform, right? Get the Jarvan lockdown into the 2 to 3 man Seraphine ults. A lot of the Seraphine ults from last game, left a little bit to be desired. Getting the 1 man or even the 2 mans, but you really need to hit those 3, 4 mans to be super impactful on this champion. While Degenerates Esports, their side, they kind of have a straightforward comp. A lot of different ball delivery systems with the Skarner, with the set, and just a lot of different kinds of forms of CC. They have the 5v5 CC, they have the terrain control with the Oriana ball, with the Jin traps, even, starting off fights is going to be really easy, right? Jin ults, and then Skarner kind of camp tanks in with the Morgana, E on top of him and kind of just pulls somebody away, whether it be the Thresh, the Tristana. All these targets are very good. I maybe not the Cho later into the game, but everybody else is a pretty, abductable champion in Skarner's eyes. So, a lot of flexibility on Degenerates Esports side once again, or not once again, but this time around. And really, we're going to look for Colbox to kind of make these 5v5 team fights with Fogknuckle. And I expect the same game plan like last game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're going to route it the same direction. I don't think Sovereign has as much of a presence in the early game, but he's more team fight oriented this time around, and that's something he still plays, and it's a different win condition for himself. It's not quite that aggressive pick kind of comp where we saw with Sovereign on the Hecarim, where he gets into those lanes early, finds success, gets Flug ahead, gets Cole ahead. This time around, he's definitely playing for the Impales, going to go in, enable Colbox, enable Fug, put Vixis in a great spot. He's going to be looking, his teeth are going to sink in. I guess it's not teeth. I guess it's a tail. His tail, it's gonna sink into Crimvale, into Fox Zero, rip him back, and honestly, all I can tell him is get a restraining order, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to pay their taxes here. We're gonna see if anybody actually gets the QSS. I expect Tristana to try to pick it up last
Hey, whoa,
third, fourth.
whoa, whoa, I didn't say QSS. I said a restraining order. Little different, little bit more aggressive, Pone. I want him legally not allowed to abduct anybody.
Unless the police come in, unless the riot police come in and start banning Skarner's abilities,
Take his
like,
IP away, kids.
hey, yeah, hardware ban this guy if that's what you want. But I mean, I might see Tristana get a little greedy with the QSX. That W that she has provides a little bit of a false sense of security, right? The Thresh Lantern, he might think, oh, I can greed for this third item, I can greed for this fourth item, and then lo and behold, when it hits 35 minutes, Skarner comes in with the camp tank, with his flash, and takes Tristana away, and that's the game, right? That could be Baron, that could be Cloud Soul. So we'll see who builds the QSS, who pays their taxes, but ideally, we want to see at least second or third item on a lot of these guys. Not necessarily Cho'Gath. I mean, he gets it taken away. He wants to be in the thick of things. He wants to be in the middle of your team, just being a big burly,
No,
guy.
I will say that is very funny you bring that up because they pick Fug, and you said earlier how Set is a massive counter into Cho'Gath, and it's gonna be so funny when those words come back to bite later on when Cho'Gath is in the thick of things, right in the middle of the team, but it may not be the right team thrown in there with a showstopper like a falling meteor to just destroy with all that extra health behind himself. And I'm really interested to see how that interaction is going to work out. And I think the counter pick from Fug was spot on this game.
Yeah, Set's ultimate, if he can get the right angle, that's a lot of damage, from his extra. He does bonus physical damage based off of the bonus maximum health or bonus health off of the Cho'Gath. So, it's a counter in of it itself. It's also a bit of a lane counter because Cho'Gath can kind of, or a bit of a lane counter because Set can kind of deal with a lot of what Cho'Gath has to offer, right? The damage, these extended trades, the haymaker, and all this true damage. It's gonna force Cho'Gath to kind of play a little bit
Hurt.
different. Yeah, he's gonna put the beat down on Godzilla up top lane. Would have loved to see King Kong up there, but we got Set, which is not the best replacement, but it's accurate enough.
Hey, either way, like I said, and like I say many times through and through, it's going to be up to these teams to show us what they've got. We on Excellence Esports are going to be going to a short break as we get everything wrapped towards that second game here in this best of 5 series of Degenerate Esports versus Degenerate Reform. We'll be right back. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Excellency Esports. If you're just joining us, we're bringing you the best of 5 here between Degenerate Esports versus Degenerates Reform. In our first game here, we did see Degenerates Esports put the pedal to the metal, pressure it out, and find major success through notable carries on Sovereign, Colbox, and Fug. This time around, though, Degenerates Reform have drafted themselves something a little bit more aggressive and not so, well, how would we say, passive. And either way, we'll have to see if they manage to pull themselves against
Oh,
what was this wall that they're currently on. And I think my color caster here, Pwn Star Shibi, and me, of course, for your play-by-play, might get to see what we wanted to earlier: a possible invade, a possible five-man collapse.
now they're just waiting for them to take this
Take a
Skarner
risk.
fire.
Take a
Yeah,
risk. Throw the hook. Throw a hook randomly, Flute.
this is a game of chicken, right? This is just waiting. If they go for this Skarner fire, they die instantly. So we're gonna see. I mean, if he throws this hook into this bush, he's got to be ghosting. Right? Oh no! Oh, just a little bit more patience on Degenerates Reform's side, and they would have gotten the kill. Skarner looked like he was going for it too.
Someone clip that. Send that to Adderall after the game. I want him to know.
That's so unfortunate, but he did have to get back to lane, I guess.
Semantics, all right?
He's gotta get the CS. He's gotta get the gold. It looks like he's being shoved away from it. Actually, he's not allowed to go through the river.
At this point, yeah, I don't think he should be, all right? Oh, Lord. Either way, major pressure. We do see the bot side start from both junglers going to be rotating up, possibly going to be looking towards Fug and Adderall for that first kind of gank potential, or what will be the possible mid lane. So no surprise from Sovereign. I would like to see Hot S'mores put the pressure down on Burn in Hell and Vixis, especially since they don't have much
Ooh.
escape presence. And whew, it's a hot dark binding, but the bomb in response onto Vixis was just as good, baby.
Yeah, and the damage, onto Bixis is really detrimental this early on, right? Tristana just has immense burst potential, level 1, 2, and 3. Can kind of just, oh, I don't know. That was a kind of an interesting dark fighting. The edge of it hit Thresh's butt, I think. But
Lollipop, baby. Mm.
yeah, right there, just kind of hits him on the side with a good game. But the burst potential on the Tristana, as we mentioned, as some trading in the top lane. Oh my god,
Ooh,
3 for
Flute,
3.
they step
Oh,
up. Good hook. That's going to be a force flash from Big Sis. That's the kind of pressure we want to see. I love this. Fox and Flute have really good early game presence, but it tends to fall off as they get a little bit too wonky into playing around these team fights. And I wish they got such a heavy extended lead in the early game, but they didn't have to worry. They could just be super aggressive, and it was no problem.
yeah, and you mentioned that now Fox and Flute are on champions that can kind of enable their playstyle, their aggressiveness. As we see Thresh being unlocked to roam with the legendary level 2 robe, doing the second jungler, and
Sovereign, Hot S'mores, right in the face of one another. And I love this. They're denying the possibility of getting the Spire there as Hot S'mores takes advantage of that flag and drag, finds himself the health advantage now, straight into the face of Fugnuggler. Good flash forward to make sure he doesn't get caught out in any way. And First Blood finds its way over to Degenerates Reformed. By the way, literally, Flute Loops is up here. The
yeah,
Flute Loops made that hard rotation. Oh
he's
my
doing the
gosh.
cross country. He's trying to get the 500 meters, the 1,000 meters. He's going all the way up, and then really, that's kind of what they did. Tristana getting the cheater recall off. Getting it the call, and now she doesn't miss anything for this. Right? She is down, a substantial amount of CS, but she's gonna pick hopefully most of it back up. I don't know. She's not really CSing that well actually under turn. I wish we could see it, but just some more trading in the mid lane, but. They're gonna get the damage off, Jin and Morgana pushing the lane in, but Thresh gets a roam off, may not have been super effective, but just the ability to get unlocked as we see some more.
S'mores here might be facing the revenge of Sovereign as he steps directly into that dark binding and he's taken out. And like I said, instant response. What a shame.
Yeah, and greed from Jarvan's side, right? He gets the kill, gets everything, wants to clear his camps, tries to go for the scuttle in the bot lane. Would have just loved to see him reset, get some boots, or get his jungle item, and kind of look towards resetting his temple. But greeds for it, gives Sovereign the kill now, and that only pushes him farther ahead. He's probably gonna be looking for this level 6. Looking for hopefully the boot rush. I mean, we've seen the lucidity boots on Skarner, so he can get the flash cooldown and all that kind of stuff. Has the phase rush and everything, but we'll see what boots he chooses.
On the edge of my seat, Pwn. I gotta
Yeah.
see them boots. I gotta see them boots. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. That's how it feels, though. That's how it feels, man. Come on.
I mean, it's really just it's so a lull state right now. I mean,
Yeah.
boots are exciting to me, man. These boots are made for walking, and I want to see Skarner walk
Hey!
into lane. I want to see him walk in the lane, grab somebody. I want to see him abduct already. Like he's
Hey,
only
hey,
level
hey!
4.
I'm filing my restraining order right now, baby. Sovereign ain't gonna be walking anywhere. I don't care what kind of guys he's putting down or what boots are made for a walk-in. All right. Either way, like you said, heavy lull. We do see those rotations. I'd like to see some presence in the bot lane. I'd like to see Hot S'mores make a rotation. I feel like he's definitely been playing a bit on the slower pace of things all of tonight and need to see more aggression, especially into the face of Sovereign. This guy knows how to get into a lane. He knows how to get those kills rolling.
Yeah, and he's on the Jarvan pick as well. And he looks like he's just opting into farm. I want to see some flag, flag and drags. I want to see him get into these lanes, blow flashes. Oh,
Hey! Not quite the flashes we expected.
might have been a flash was blown.
Flash alone, baby.
And we saw Skarner kind of walk in as menacing as a pre-reworked Warwick. Kind of just walks up, looks at you, throws his E out, and then just walks back away. Really needs to hit that level 6. Has no camps to farm. Oh,
Big stun here onto Flute Loops, being too far forward, tries to find that aggressive ward, and he's punished for it. They do manage to take Dragon, but I feel like this is deja vu. Someone going down the bot lane while Dragon is taken just feet away.
yeah, I mean, a life for Dragon. I don't know how worth it is, but it is a Mountain Drake, which is pretty impactful in the early game. Gives you those extra resistances, kind of lets you live a little bit longer, and can kind of swing the trades and edge of your seat kind of fights that we see in the bot lane and in the top lane. But, overall win. Skarner gets some AXP. He gets level 6. Oh, just some aggression.
Yep, Vixis gonna be pressured out there, but there's not much of a follow-up, especially since Jhin is so fast, man. I mean, I can't believe the move speed on this champ. Just, oh my lord. No, I'm kidding. It's just no further aggression. There's no way to follow that one up when you've already expended your windows. I mean, come on.
Yeah, she's not jumping in and kind of just blowing her load onto Jhin, and nothing really happens after that. That's kind of the nature of that champion. Has to get the reset off. But now, level 6s are coming in for a lot of these laners. Now we're going to see some action, I hope. But, big wave coming up in the top lane. Maybe they set up a dive. Maybe nothing really happens. And, Adderall just kind of takes this wave for free.
Absolutely. Not much pressure here from the top side this time around. Last time it was, Urgot into what was the
Yorick.
Yorick. Yes, my apologies. And of course, Adderall's playing the Cho, and you're not really going to see that kind of aggression, especially once Cho starts getting tankier and tankier. But they're looking to fight. They're still throwing the wet noodles out there, and Adderall is taking low. But can Fug really follow it up? Not quite.
Unless he wants to, use his ulti. It looks like he wants to just beat this guy up. Really doesn't like what he had to say. Cho'Gath probably said something about his mother. Blows the flash because he saw the Jarvan coming in with the gank. Goodbye, Fug Knuckler, but now he's, it's set though. Like if you gank him, he's still going to be able to R away and really pretty much has an extra flash. Oh, nice hook.
Good hook there to play off Fox Hero. Burning Hell a little bit late on the Black Shield there, bud.
Yeah, maybe he's playing on, Costa Rican ping. I'm not really sure. Oh. Burns the flash.
He gets the flash, but there's the response from the current call, and I love the moves here from Fox Zero right out of the point of danger to get the immediate response. Now Sovereign here on the top side playing off of the Cataclysm to pull Hot S'mores to his death.
Yeah, and a really good play on the... Oh.
Yeah, playing off this one. Good double charm from the Encore, but that's the response from Cole! An amazing shockwave to get the double as Crimvale now the only one left through and through. It's going to be the Haymaker securing that, and a double for Fuggy in the top lane.
And a tale of two people, right? A two-face even. Degenerates reforms bot side, making an amazing play in the bot lane, but just as they see across the map, burning up, going in shambles, they can't really do anything about it. The top side, a triple kill comes over to Degenerates Esports, just swinging the gold lead in their favor. And now Set's got 3 kills. That guy's scary.
Yeah, Set, maybe scary is a word. I don't know if I would use it potentially just yet, but he definitely is in a power presence. And Fug, like we've said many times before, is a true shining star for this team. Finds his way into that carry position, and oh god, run, Cho, run! The fists are out. He's coming through, but he's got the red like you said. And meanwhile, he does get... Whoa, look at the true damage on that Haymaker. I can't believe he
Yeah.
already just got back to lane. He's already in a worse position for it.
Yeah, can you imagine TPing back to lane and then just being half health already? And this guy hasn't even back yet. He's still sitting on the Vamp Scepter. If he comes back with like a Bork or a Stride Break or anything like that, or components to it, I mean, this lane is, pretty much almost over for Cho'Gath, right? He can't really get any presence, can't really get the pressure on. And it's just kind of at the will, at the mercy of Fugnuggler.
At the will and mercy of Fognuggler. Words I hoped I never had to hear, but they're the inevitable. They come through no matter what. And hey, it's playoff season, baby. And Degenerate Esports is showing a completely different tide here. And usually during the season, Reformed has looked a lot more contestable against this team.
Yeah, and I think it's just that it comes down to a comp differential, right? I mean, we just saw the amazing power, like, oh, some more wet noodle.
Wow, fuck. Immediately off of that response, and Adderall's gone. There is nothing for him to do there. 3-0, now 4. I mean, you said he's scary, and I think I can agree this time around.
Yeah, comes in the lane with the full Bork. That is just heartbreaking. Oh, as we see a hook in.
It's pretty good to play through there. The dark buying does come through in response with the root as well. Sovereign sadly can't make the restraining order impale happen just yet, but maybe later. Maybe later. Hot S'mores though into the mid lane straight to get a great flag and drag knock up on the Coal Box there. Gets the Cataclysm response, and there's nowhere that this Orianna can go. Sovereign's there for the response, but it's just too late. Good encore, but doesn't find anybody when it needs to. Curtain call in response to get a great snipe on the Crimvale, and the slow comes through on a Hot S'mores fourth shot. Just awaiting, doesn't quite hit, but either way, Degenerates Esports set themselves up for a great position onto the Drake.
And really good ultimates from Jin, and just really good play from him overall. Getting the snipes that he needs to, setting up his team for the, oh, as we see another hook. Just giving a hello, saying, hey, what's up? I'm here. I'm gonna steal it. Maybe with the hook, probably not. Oh my god, look at this trade in the top lane.
Oh, beautiful, wonderful steal here for Reformed, and now Fox on the side looking to capitalize, take the team out here, double jump straight into the back, finds his way into the double. This is the main man. This is the 0 we have been waiting for. 0 to hero with the blast cone straight into the Sovereign.
Oh, no.
Now there's going to be the explosive bomb. There's the jump as well. The hook doesn't quite hit, and man, this Scorpion is a fast. Gets out just when he needs to.
And you mentioned all the eggs are in the Fox Zero basket. Well, it looks like they haven't been scrambled just yet. They're still safe and sound. They're being protected, and it really looks good on Fox Zero's side. I mean, he is the carry of the team. He looks to get enabled by the rest of his squad mates, and really just honestly looking on the other side of the map, we see Set, just beating this Cho'Gath down and just forcing him back in the lane. Now is surmounted into a near 50 CS lead, and it's only going to get bigger. Takes the turn in the top lane, so we're going to see Fugnuggler join these fights, and we're going to see which of these two Titans are going to, carry their team. Is it Tristana on the Fox, with Fox Zero and the attack range and all this damage that he has, or is it going to be Set being a menace to your backline, throwing Cho'Gath, like you mentioned, a meteor into the team? I love to see these 5v5 team fights come out. Hopefully this next Dragon, maybe for this Rift Herald?
Possibly. Sovereign and Cole are on the response, and they do spot out Flute. I don't know if they're going to want to pressure aggressively that much. Crimvale has already given away his cards. Now Sovereign's on the hunt. Impale to pull him back. Cole's ready as well. He's got the ball on top of him when needs be, but I don't even think he needs to use it. Good response on the knockup, but Crimvale still can't quite make it out. Finds Lantern. It's going to be the meteor we discussed to find that kill there. Adderall now pushed back because of the shockwave taken as well. Sovereign chases out the rest of the fight onto Flute Loops. Fox Zero here in the bot lane, defending the best he can, but still in a horrible position as his team falls.
Yeah, and really they lose so much, right? Degenerates Esports willing to take that to 3v4 and just kind of make it work. Set just a big force, zoning almost 3 people out, while Seraphine just gets abducted and kind of just dies to the damage of Skarner Orianna. Not a sentence I would usually be saying, because Skarner doesn't do too much damage, but Seraphine unable to really do anything, very squishy. And
good catalyst. Colebox in a poor position. He does have flash available if he wants to escape from this one, but I don't know if it's going to be completely available. Finds his way into the hands of Hot S'mores, but the response from Fug and Sovereign is quick, but not as quick as a Lantern, and that flash has got to burn in the mind there. Fug really wasn't close to anyone.
yeah, these lanterns have been pretty good on Flute Loop's side. We saw him, you know, do pretty well in the early game with the Gragas, try to get these roams off, and he looks like a support that really is roaming and is playing around his team really well. Kind of leaving Fox Zero to his devices when needed, and really getting his team out of some sticky situations. Not all of them, but definitely saving his team more than one occasion on this stretch.
Absolutely. And I like the position from Flute there. He might not always be in the best area, especially sometimes when he plays a bit too far forward. But either way, he's still there. He's still the support. He's still looking out for his babies when the need be comes. I just wish Fox would trust the man more and go absolutely ape sometimes. I'm kidding. Please don't. That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
I mean, we may have to start seeing Tristana just aggressively jumping in with all these resets and with how much damage she can deal. Oh, as we see something happening maybe in the bot lane, a setup on S'more's side.
Not quite. Not yet.
No,
Not yet. Vixus, okay, there they go. Into the backline. Flute and S'mores. They're looking for the gauge. Dark Binding with the hook immediately. There's hot. S'mores actually whips because of it. Now Fox Zero there with the response. The bomb going to secure that one as he puts himself in good position to go further, but not quite as far as he needs to. But the mid lane now in a poor position as they throw the rift down.
yeah, and these could be two turrets, right? The amount of champions that Degenerate Esports have invested, as we see the Cho'Gath kind of getting zoned up. There's no way he gets into this. You have to go around, buddy. You gotta go around. Oh,
Ooh. Poor Shockwave. The Encore, I don't even think it's necessary there at that point. Sovereign, low, but not low enough to go down. Crimvale taken out as Adderall.
Charge? Oh,
It
that's
is.
so much value.
Beautiful, beautiful Rift Herald to play around from Esports, as well as Adderall getting his absolute deck changed through and through as the health is gone from the Void creature, and he's gone as well. I mean, that was an incredible play from Degenerates Esports, and now we gotta see if Hot S'mores can capitalize, and good shielding on the ball, but Cataclysm pumps out the damage when it needs to.
Yeah, and even overall, even if Orianna does that, it's still an immaculate macro play by Degenerate Esports. Oh, you don't want this 1v1, Jarvan. You do not want that.
Well, good thing it's not a 1v1, baby. It's a 4v1. That's how many you gotta take down Fug. Gotta feel really bad at that point. But either way, you get rid of some of the major presence on the map, some of the most hard aggressive carries, and now you're able to take a dragon. Take a little break.
I mean, this enables a 23-minute soul point a lot earlier than the other one we saw. And, as we praise the Degenerate Esports macro immaculately, they haven't really been playing around these drags, and Ocean Soul is so strong on the side of Reformed, right? Just adds another form of healing for all their members, making the Seraphine that much more effective and making the rest of their team, that much more harder to kill. I mean, I don't care how much damage you have on Degenerates Esports side. If you can't get through these health bars, it's pointless, right? If you can't get through the healing and all this, I don't see any executioners. I don't see any healing cuts. No grievous wounds on the team yet. So look for these next couple team fights. When this Dragon Soul comes up, to be definitely spicy.
Absolutely, and now at this point, I honestly think Reformed is in a good position to play around not only Fox Zero, who has shown that he's on fire, he's back, baby, he's the 80 carry we've been waiting for, but also Hot S'mores actually on top of getting the appropriate engages straight onto Cold Box or into Sovereign or anyone who needs it at the time of being. Now, has anyone paid the tax yet? Not quite. So I still think Sovereign is a major power player here, as well as Fugnuggler, that are going to disrupt any major kind of team fight that may come through. So we got to hope and pray for positioning to play into the favor here, but it already doesn't look good. Hosmer's forced to use that flag and drag extremely early. Possible collapse, but no hook to come through. Encore only finds its way onto Sovereign. There's the Cataclysm. It's a great spot, but it's going to be the showstopper to get Fug out of that one. But as a result, he's taken and blown up from Fox Zero. Fox Zero steps up there, but a good root saves the day, preventing Burn in Hell from going down just by yet. But a big flash from Flute Loops. Good Dark Shield to make sure that Burn in Hell doesn't quite go down as a shield comes through from Colbox. This Morgana just barely escaped, but there's Fox. Fox says, screw it, I'm flashing, baby. I want this kill. And now Sovereign and Bix is going deep in the backline, realizing that Fox Zero is nowhere near to make the appropriate play happen. Flute gonna step up, gets the hook and the stun onto Sovereign. Massive response as well as Cole is there, but the Flay pulls him
Tristana's back
back, and
in.
that's incredibly fast pull through. But Vixis now stepping up to trying to final this one out, but that's the feast. Finally, the true damage ult to come through, and now Vixis taking it on the 1-to-1,
Oh
and
my.
whoa! Half health explosion as we do see Vixis go down on the hands of Fox Zero and Fugnuggler back from the dead. This team fight's gone on so long that he's actually managed to make his way through and through. His hot source steps back into the face. Overall, that looked like the team fight came out in favor of Reformed. There you go.
Yeah, and a lot of the kills went onto the Tristana as well, and that's the person you want to get the kills. Just doing so much burst damage. Jin died at about 4 hits. Really unfortunate for Bixis, but I mean, that's going to be the name of the game for Fox Zero, right? Just getting these huge resets. Having to unfortunately burn the flash. Would have probably loved it in that later, extended part of the team fight at the later half when I could have got the kill on both Jin and the Orianna, but Fugnuggler kind of saves the day, gets the return kill in. And we just really see the power of these two. But Set is kind of getting, a little bit too cocky, trying to tank up all the damage, get these massive haymakers, but was just kind of CC'd down and bursted away from Tristana. Really good stuff on her side. I think Fox Zero is playing exceptionally well. He is playing like the carry, and like you mentioned, the eggs are in the Fox Zero basket.
Well, this is exactly what we discussed during draft. He needs something that enables him to be aggressive, to get in the face of Degenerate Esports, and also have the safety to pull back. And Tristana is one of the best champions for that. At the same time, just in general, he needs a champion that doesn't have to rely so much on a setup from his team. And that's when the Zero shines, man. That's when we actually see this team come alive. And there goes Fox, straight in the backline. Funk gets the response into the knuckle down, and he's going to be taken out immediately as Crimvale is pulled back as well. This is that team fight combo that we've been waiting for, and the edge of the shockwave just barely catches Flute Loops as he tries to run away, plays it out, but he's still going to go down. 3 members now from Reformed, all missing off of the map here. Bit of a shame on that one, but a great organization from the team fight presence of Degenerate Esports.
And just as we praise Fox Zero, we cast a curse to man. He flies in on that threshold. Probably not the best idea there. Doesn't know where the rest of the team is. Oh my god, as we see a beatdown on the top lane.
Yeah, thank gosh the knockdown came through as well. I like how even though he's walking away, Big Flash comes out afterwards. He in no time wants Fug to catch up.
Yeah, and really that flash is so crucial for this up-and-coming team fight. Can't get the flash consume or the silence, and we're going to see a lot of these summoner spells, crucial ones down on the side of Degenerates Reformed. While Skarner does have that flash up, he's going to have the abduction up. As we see, get into a small pause. S'mores is lagging, it looks like, so hopefully he can fix his internet.
Oh man, that was so quick, S'mores. You're so good at reconnecting. Oh, look at that. Either way, S'mores lag if he may be. He's going to be pulled back. He does manage to get that flag and drag out of the impending danger. And potentially now we're just going to wait and see if he can go for the steal, baby.
He stole it once. Maybe he can steal it again.
Come on. Sovereign promised he was going to be the stealer here tonight, and I haven't quite seen it. So they get the vision over the wall. They've got presence. S'mores has the drag. He goes in deep, but the damage isn't there. He's immediately ripped to shreds. Response comes through, and the dragon finds his way over to Degenerate Esports. Just a little too early.
And the difference that Flash would have made on Cho'Gath's side, Flash consumed, they would have been able to take that immediately if Cho'Gath flashed over, doing almost 1,000 true damage or 1,000 damage to the objective. They could have maybe tried to burst it over, but good on Degenerates Esports side to drag it out and keep it at, like a relatively high HP value, so Hot S'mores couldn't just go and, flag and drag and steal it away. But this just delays the game more. In the state of scaling, who do you think kind of has the advantage? Is it the Tristana? Is it the Cho'Gath? Is it the Seraphine? Or is it this Jin Orianna set combo? Who, as the later the game goes, who do you think kind of gets the advantage?
I think they're both great mid to late game comps that play into each other very, very well. My thing to kind of give the analysis towards your question is the fact that you have heavy early game presence from guys like Fugnuggler, starting to fall off. It was a huge scale that played into flavor, but as Adderall gets bigger and thicker, he's not quite going to be taking those mega trades that play into favor of Fugnuggler as he beats up Hot S'mores in the bot lane. But either way, Crimvale gets the AP burst that actually mixes the damage up on the team, and Fox Zero slowly comes into that limelight. I mean, he's got what is the Quicksilver Sash finally on his belt. He's going to pay that tax. He's going to make sure he is the carry for this team. And as it continues to go on, if they play the appropriate positioning game front to back, you know, I honestly think Reformed is in a great spot. Either way, though, if they don't, it's such an easy and quick collapse for the side of Degenerate Esports to just get a quick pick, play off the heavy burst damage, just utilize Bixis into Fugnuggler and just rip through any one of the chosen targets, even Adderall sometimes, as tanky as he is.
Yeah, and I want to see Fog Knuckler. I want to see esports, Degenerates esports side, kind of get these unfair fights. You know, we haven't really been seeing a lot of flanks from Fog Knuckler that we saw, at least in game one with the Urgot. And Set is a champion that you really kind of need to flank on and get these huge engages and kind of maybe even ultimate somebody into your team just so you can kind of get them bursted out. It doesn't have to be the Cho'Gath, it can be any one of these characters. As you know, Crimvale has kind of been the target of these lockdown CCs as she's going on 1-6 right now, but still really, you know, valuable to the team. Has the Moonstone, has the staff, and you know, the cheap cost of her items means that even if she's getting targeted, you know, even if she's not farming the best, she can still be relevant. And that's what's so good about this Seraphine pick, along with the heals and everything like that. But I want to see Degenerates esports side kind of take these unfair fights. It is a 5 to 6K gold lead, but it really doesn't feel like it with what's happening, right?
It's just objective control. Of course, Reform definitely playing on the slow side. They don't have as many turrets. That is not how you say the word turrets. Either way, they don't have as many turrets on their side as Degenerates Esports, and they haven't quite been on top of getting a bit of the farm lead when it comes to both mid lane and top. So I can see the kind of disadvantage that is formed. But like you said, it doesn't quite show.
And a lot of that gold is funneled onto this.
Oh, good hook with the bomb in the cold box, taking on melee with the response as well onto Burn in Hell. Sovereign and Bixis don't want none of it. They're already back far out as the turrets continue to crash. Talk about that gold lead. It's already disappearing, baby.
Yeah, and Fox Zero just playing really well. We saw him jump in, try to get another kill, but you know, Set is pushing in the bot lane, and I don't think Seraphine can answer him. I really think Set has the ability to just kill her, but he does back off. Does respect the Baron that they are going to go for, and they're going to need everybody here. It's going to be really hard to outsmite Cho'Gath Consume plus...
no, you can't. There's no outsmite. It's 1,000 damage plus, baby.
We'll see. I mean, this guy will be the hero.
Don't you dare jinx it. I don't want to hear anything.
No,
Simon promised me some steals, but I don't need this right now. My blood pressure can only handle so much.
He does have to flash.
He's not quite going to be in the position that he needs to, and as a result, they do manage to get the Baron, but Fug and Sovereign are there. Good Cataclysm to push them back off this one, but Adderall's going to be taken out as a result. They look to continue the collapse as the Shockwave just barely catches Hot S'mores. It's only going to be Crimvale and Flute Loops with that Baron as they look to escape even further. They managed to pick it up, but at what cost?
2 Barons are up, and you know, Oriana doing the best Scorpion impression I've ever seen. Tells Jarvan to get over here as he gets the ultimate off, but really the Dragon is up now as they're gonna get this inhibitor. So this Baron, you know, only on 2 members. Oh,
Ooh, big flash. They're looking to collapse on Crim and make this game an end while they have the chance, but not quite. It's just gonna be that inhib.
yeah, and they're gonna pick up the Dragon on the way back. You know, Jarvan's gonna be down for another 10 seconds, so they can't really contest unless Cho'Gath wants to come and like flash Consume. But even then, that's, you know, that's throwing away a really big member of your team just for a, you know, a 50-50 or like a 75-25 if you can get the Consume and everything off. But looks like they're just gonna give it. That's kind of the comfort that is allowed when you have the first 3 dragons in the game. You can kind of look to give them up and look to scale. I mean, you have the Baron on Degenerates Reform side, but it doesn't feel like they're in the lead. It doesn't feel like the Baron is going to be too impactful.
No. We'll have to see how it plays through. They definitely could run it back mid like they did in the previous kind of 2 minutes and try to push it further to find themselves an inhib. That definitely can work and play into their favor, but the fact that it's only oriented on Crimvale and Flute Loops, some rather squishy targets that can easily be taken out, I can agree with you in terms of the presence of it, and the 3-1 split is something that they route towards either way.
Yeah, oh,
Sovereign though, Impale comes through, Floop's taken back, but he is tanky. He's able to front this pretty aggressively, and that Encore just whips so hard. Cole picks up the response there on the Flute as the current call does come out here. Fox Zero is able to leap through and through as Sovereign continues his chase, but they're finally just out of it.
Yeah, and at this, As at this point in the game, really getting the R onto any of these members is going to be, just so much front-loaded damage on the side of Degenerate Esports. So getting the Thresh, regardless of how tanky he is, getting the Cho'Gath even, or maybe the Jarvan, they're going to get bursted out, and just being out of position is so detrimental to a comp like Degenerates Reform, as we see some action in the bot side jungle.
Govern here doesn't quite have the impale up, so he can't really make a pull onto Fox or anybody that he needs to, but they are setting up for the next apparent nothing.
Yeah, really, they're setting up for
Yeah.
this dragon that's coming up in three and
In
a half
three
minutes.
minutes, man. I can't count either, I guess.
Yeah, really, they're kind of just stuck in this kind of farming phase right now. They don't have the Baron on Degenerates Esports side. The inhib was previously cracked open because of the early Rift Herald that they got, and was able to get 3 charges off. So really, they're just looking for picks. They're looking to take this, deny the bot side jungle, looking for somebody to kind of step out of place. But this is coordinated play. They're probably all communicating that, hey, we don't have vision down here. Don't go there. There's a Skarner ult up. Just funnel the farm into Fox Zero and try to get him, the items that he needs. And, it looks like it's not a horrible strat.
No, absolutely not. And now Fug here going to be knocked up in response as Hotspurs comes through. They're going to play around it. That's that Cataclysm. The Haymaker Flash to get him out of this terrible position is going to enable the rest of his team as they push into this bot lane as the 4-man here, and they take down the impending inhib turret. Fox Zero is here, though, to clear wave, so I don't think they're going to be able to push this any further.
And that's, as we see the Chemtank coming up. But that's what happens when you invest so many resources in the top side. It's just, Degenerates Esports has been pretty good on the macro in regards to map movement for turrets and stuff like that. Being able to take things when, resources are invested into another side of the map, getting the mid lane turrets, getting 3 of them off, and then, getting the bot lane inhibitor turret as well. It just really, it feels like they've been winning the macro game overall, if you don't count the dragons in that sense. But they've been, the last 2 dragons have been there just because of proper positioning and timing.
Absolutely. At this point, though, we're coming back to a little bit of a null. We're going to be waiting for that inhib, see how it crashes, as they continue to assess pressure, especially as that Baron buff is no longer in their favor. We do have a minute and 30 on both major objectives. It still is sole point for contention here for Reform, so we do need to see Esports respond in some form of an aggressive way, and that could mean for a potential switcheroo action, especially with Baron and them both being up at the same time.
Yeah, and the horrible trade would be for Degenerate Esports to trade Baron for Dragon Soul, right? Hopefully they can try to, trade the other way around. I mean, the Baron, it doesn't look good for Degenerate Esports on either side. If they go for the Baron, they give the Soul up. If they go for the Dragon, they give the Baron up, and that only really enables Degenerate's Reform side, because the other Baron went to Reform, but only 2 members ended up surviving with it. If they end up with having 4 or even 5 members surviving, it's so much more, makes so much more of a difference, right? Because we're going to see some action around the Dragon.
So they're going to look to secure this one first before they make any presence towards Baron at all. I'd love to see Adderall come in here. I'm curious to see how he plays around his specific teleport. I hope it comes in time, though. I don't want to see Sovereign go in for something and then suddenly we're all playing on the back foot.
Yeah, well, I think he's trying to get that level 16 just to get a little bit more of an impactful ult.
Get
a little bit more
fucking Sovereign. Good flash, Hot S'mores. You just denied a whole face of an engage here, and you're continuing enabling Adderall to push out this top wave.
Yeah, I think he really just wants to hit level 16 before he TPs. He is one of the lower levels in the game right now, other than the supports. But
Vixis.
Oh yeah, and Vixis is level 14.
Vixis really is struggling, man. Either way, Dragon is up. Fug are going to try to play this one back around. Hotspurs this time gets a good knock-up in response, but they don't quite find what they need to. But the pressure from Degenerates Esports makes sure that they don't find their way onto this Dragon. So that's going to be a 3rd Ocean Drake here for Degenerates Esports. And the trade? Turrets. Top side.
Yeah, one top turret. I would have loved to see just beeline it to the Dragon. I mean, they've had to have known that, Adderall wasn't going to TP because they just didn't have the vision or anything like that. Jarvan blowing his flash as well. I would have just loved to beeline it to drag, or beeline it to Baron and just give him the drag. It looks like they have the vision control around there too, so it would have been really hard for Esports to kind of just walk in blind. They can definitely burn this Dragon out with the Tristana and the Cho'Gath consume and everything, but just a macro, not necessarily a failure, but just kind of a macro mishap on the sides of Reform. That's kind of been the name of the game, right? They get these early dragons, but then they can't set up around them. They invest a lot of resources in trying to kill somebody. They lose an inhibitor turret here, or they lose an inhib there, and really just esports has been out macroing them for most of the game one and two.
Absolutely. And that's something to play to the pressure of this team as a whole, and it sets them apart and really proves why they are the current number one seed. And in the face of maybe some poor decisions and some upwards bad skill matchups, they're still able to play the map really, really well.
And now they turn their attention to this Baron. I don't know if they really want to start this up. Inhibs are up for the side
Oh,
of
good
Jets
stun. Fug
Reform.
is rooted out, taking a half health, going to be pushed out with that haymaker immediately there. So that big shield is down for the major fight. Floops is taken low. There's going to be that showstopper, but it doesn't find anyone where it needs it. And Fox Hero picks up that one in response back into that line there. There's the Impale to pull him back, but he leaps forward to find the kill on the Cold Box, turns his attention to Bixis, but Bixis flashes over the wall to take over Crimvale. But the response is now that he is incredibly low. Adderall doing a great job making sure that Sovereign can't get anywhere close to the major carries as Fox Zeros routes back up towards this top side, potentially look for a kill here. Sovereign is silenced out, and the jump comes through from Fox, but this boy, oh boy, Scorpion is fast. Now Burning Hell and Hot S'mores deep in the mid lane, neck and neck running side by side. That Dark Binding going to push him back, but he does have the flag and drag to secure himself that kill. And Degenerates Reform take a wonderful team fight, and now what will be looking to be that Baron.
Yeah, a little bit of a misplay on the Tristana side, failing the flash over to secure the kill on Jin, allowing him to live. You'd love to see them kind of clean up. Tristana was in prime position to clean up that fight after Fognuggler went down, and we saw the ultimate actually go down onto him. Oh no, oh no.
Sovereign doesn't manage to get the steal. Even though he promised it to me earlier, he still doesn't find it. And you know what? That's okay, buddy. Maybe next time. Either way, this time around, all 5 members from Degenerates Reformed have the Baron buff on their belt. This is the push that they needed to find themselves a victory.
Yeah, and you want to see a 1-4 composition here. They can't really run the 1-3-1 with the Seraphine and Cho'Gath, but you can definitely put Cho'Gath in the top lane, you get the 4 down in the mid lane, and really look to shove these lanes out. The magic damage being on the side of Orianna won't be able to clear the waves as much, and Jin, even with his rapid fire cannon, he won't be able to walk up as comfortably just because Jarvan, the threat of the engage on the Jarvan and Thresh is just too much. So really, they should look to just push mid lane or top lane or as 4 people, and then send Cho into a solo lane and just have him kind of duke it out with Fognuggler, which is going to be the response from Esports' side.
Absolutely. So now, looking to see how they pressure out these waves, they're going to be sending Adderall back to that top side as he continues to apply that kind of 3-1 split that we saw earlier that garnered them the 1 turret. Curious to see if Degenerates Sports looks to respond in any way to this, especially as the final soul is up here. Their focus could be divided enough to enable maybe an inhib being taken or the dragon.
Yeah, they're gonna have to send more than one to respond to this Cho'Gath, it feels like, just because the
Hot
bear
S'mores, good charm, encore, flute loops over the wall. They find a great kill in the coal box.
Yeah, and just Kolbach stepping out of the position. Don't know what he was really doing in his own jungle. It sounds weird, right? Out of position in your own jungle. But when you see 4 guys in the mid lane, I mean, the amount of engage that they have.
Look at this. Pressure in the mid lane, Fug on the side. They've already got inhib for themselves. Mind you, Cole is down, and Adderall still looking healthy, even in the face of a constant pressurization from Fognuggler. They look to keep the pressure going on this top turret. Major engage from Hotspurs, doesn't find it, but he does get the Cataclysm deep onto Bixis and Fug. They get the kill with Fox here, pressuring deep into that backline. It's only going to be Sovereign and Burton Hell left alive as Sovereign looks for the run as Hotspurs can't quite find that flag. Drag that knees. A good Dark Shields. Flue Loops is going deep for the Mega Flay under turret. He's rooted out, taken low, but the response from Adderall and Fox Zero is there. Degenerates Reform take game 2.
Oh, and a fantastic performance on the Tristana side. Just really carrying this team, putting Degenerates Reformed on her back and playing exceptionally well. I mean, I'm not going to say that, Cho'Gath and Jarvan didn't do their part, but really this bot lane is what shined from Degenerates Reformed side. And really, the eggs in the Fox Zero basket work.
The eggs in the Fox Zero basket. This is their primary win condition. We've seen it time and time again. And it was proven it worked out extremely well. 12, 2, and 4. Fox Zero was on top of it, door to door. This guy managed to just run it through time and time again. And I don't know if they're going to allow that to slide through in this next drafting phase.
And I would love to hover over the healing if we could on the Moonstone, because I feel like it was kind of an unsung thing, right? I believe she healed for quite a bit on that Moonstone build, really going for the full support build. Moonstone, Ardent Sensor, Chemtech, Staff of Flowing Water. We can't even see the healing, unfortunately, but it feels like it is so much on their side. But really, what do you do if you're Degenerates Esports? I mean, do you just ban out Fox Zero? Do you keep giving him this Seraphine? I mean, what do you do if you're looking to bounce back from this game too?
Absolutely. I think the idea is that I'm not quite sure where it kind of fell apart, but the team fight presence in the late game really started to shine here from Reformed as they kind of got into the ebb and the flow. I do feel like Sovereign wasn't enabled to the potential that we saw in game one. You know, he had a bit more of an aggressive need to get into that backline, playing around that Hecarim, kind of bursting through, getting on top of those carries. But like I said earlier, the Hecarim wasn't kind of the full picture here. So honestly, I think you need something further aggression on Fug, further aggression on Sovereign. Cole did fantastic. Vixis and Burn in Hell felt a little lackluster, but they definitely were consistent enough to play into this. Hmm.
And it felt like Jin just wasn't doing the damage, right? Like this guy was posting a pretty good score line. It felt like he was in the thick of things, but just wasn't able to finish off kills like Tristana. And I mentioned the Tristana priority, right? And none of these teams really taking it. I really hope that Degenerates Esports looks to kind of just take it away from Fox Zero. They did throw about 380 carries bans onto him. I believe they banned the Vayne away, they banned the Kai'Sa away, and they banned one more if I
Yeah, it's
recall. But
huge.
yeah, and just
Cog.
allowing just yeah, Kog'Maw, right? Allowing Tristana to slip through into the hands of such a capable ADC like Fox Zero just doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, you just saw the power that she did. She even went third item QSS, right? And she was still doing so much damage. So I would love to see Degenerates Esports kind of leave at least one of the OP picks open, or the trinity of ADCs. That I like to see is like Kai'Sa, Tristana, and Jinx, but it looks like none of the teams really opting in to play that kind of Jinx. So the Kai'Sa and Tristana should be traded here, if anything, just so Bixis can have more of an impact damage-wise. Because it felt like Fugnuggler had it in the early game, but like you mentioned, he just fell off. Like he couldn't get to Fox Zero.
Well, either way, we will have to see how it plays out here, as both of these teams are now tied as they approach the third game of this best of five. We, on the other hand, will be right back as we get this stream organized and heading on its way. Stick around.